Dear students, welcome to our Computer Studies channel. Today we are going to learn one of the important concepts from chapter 1, Database Management System. The topic is data and information. Usually these two terms are used interchangeably, but actually they are different. By the end of this video, you will clearly understand what is data, what is information, how data becomes information, and why this concept is important in real life. So let's begin with a simple activity. Look carefully at the values displayed on the screen. 1200, 2500, 7914154, West, Arun Kadam. Can you tell me what these values mean? Take a moment and think. Most of us cannot understand their meaning. Why? Because these values are not organized. They have no context. At this stage, they are simply pieces of data. Let's understand what data actually means. What is data? According to the textbook, data refers to unorganized facts, figures, and details related to people, places, things, or events. In simple language, data means raw facts. Data can be numbers, text, images, audio, video. Examples include student name, mobile numbers, marks, roll numbers, attendance records. By itself, data may not provide meaningful information. That is why we call it raw data. Why data is important? In today's digital world, huge amount of data is generated every second. Schools, hospitals, banks, online shopping websites, WhatsApp, YouTube, Instagram, and so on. Without proper management of this data, these organizations and applications would not be able to function efficiently. That is why data is considered a valuable asset. Characteristics of data. Let us understand some important characteristics of data. First, data is usually raw. It has not yet been processed. It has not been analyzed yet. Second, data is often unorganized. Third, data may not always be meaningful. And finally, data can exist in many forms such as text, numbers, images, audio, and video. Remember this point. Data is the starting point. Information is created from data. Now let's move to information. The textbook defines information as processed data. This means when data is organized, analyzed, and presented in a meaningful form, it becomes information. Information helps us understand a situation and make decisions. Unlike raw data, information has meaning and purpose. Let's understand its characteristics. Information has three important characteristics. First, it is structured. This means it is organized properly. Second, it is relevant. It is related to a specific purpose. Third, it is meaningful. It helps us understand something and make decisions. This is the biggest difference between data and information. Data may not have meaning. I repeat, data may not have meaning. Information always has meaning. Now, let's compare data and information. Data is raw facts and figures. Information is processed data. Data is often unorganized. Information is organized and structured. Data may not be meaningful. Information is meaningful and useful. Data is the input. Information is the output after processing. Now, let's look at the example given. When we have following values 1200, 2500, 79154, West, and so on, individually, these values do not provide any meaningful information. They are simply data. Now, let's organize them. Mr. Arun Kadam, employee number 79154, sold 1200 shoes at rupees 2500 each in the west region of India. Now everything makes sense. The same data has been processed and converted into meaningful information. This example perfectly shows how information is derived from data. Let us understand this concept using an application that all of us use, WhatsApp. Every message you send is the data. Every photo you share is data. Every contact number stored in WhatsApp is data. Now suppose WhatsApp tells you you received 50 messages today. This is information. Why? Because WhatsApp processed the raw data and presented it in a meaningful form. This shows how data is transformed into information in real life. Students, there is one very interesting point that many people do not realize. We usually say that data is processed to become information. But the story does not end there. Sometimes information for one person can become data for another person. Let's understand this with a simple example. Suppose we have the marks of students. These marks are raw facts, so they are data. Now, the class teacher processes these marks and prepares a merit list. The merit list is meaningful and organized. Therefore, for teacher, it is information. But now, imagine that the coordinator collects merit list from all the classes. For the coordinator, each merit list becomes data. The coordinator processes the merit list and prepares school performance report showing top performing classes, school average, pass percentage. Now this report becomes information for the principal. So notice what happened. The marks were data, the merit list became information, then that information became data for another person. Any further processing, it became information again. This shows that whether something is data or information often depends on who is using it and for what purpose. That is why we say information for one person can become data for another person. Before we end, remember these two important points. Data means raw facts and figures. Information means processed and meaningful data. If you understand this simple difference, you can answer most questions related to this topic. Always remember, data, when processed, becomes information. This is the foundation of database management system. In this video, we learned about what is data, what is information, characteristics of data and information, and the difference between data and information. In the next video, you will learn about database and understand why organizations depend on database. If you found this video useful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel and share it with your classmates. Till then, thank you and see you in the next session.